Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for the June partner webinar. We've got a lot of great stuff to cover today, so let's jump into it. If you haven't joined us recently, then you might not know we've got a lot of new faces on the team. If you were here last month, then you saw this, but I think one might be new since last month, maybe not. You might have known him already. These are the people that you'll be working with on a regular basis, and you can reach out to them if you have any questions or that you don't get submitted during the webinar today. Today you're going to hear from me for a bit from Denise, and then a bit from Spencer. You already know both Denise and I. Spencer runs enterprise sales for North America and spends most of his non-chef time training squirrels to save kittens from trees. It's a lovely pastime. This is what we'll cover today. It should be actually relatively quick. We'll see. I think Spencer's going to have the meat of today, so we'll see what we get through. I'm just here for an update with ChefConf. If you are not yet somehow aware that ChefConf is coming, we are only 76 days away, and it's time to get going. I'm sure you've all done amazing things this year, especially using Chef's tools. So make sure to submit your topic for speaking for presentations. Our virtual ChefConf, as we know, isn't a great way for networking. It certainly isn't as great as in person, but we're working to find ways for you to network with your peers this year too. And if you do submit, we offer opportunities for helping you build the best deck and for practice and that kind of stuff. Speaking opportunities always look good on your resume and LinkedIn. This one you just get to do from home, and it's going to be the most comfortable talk you've ever given. And in case that wasn't enough, our speaker swag is always the best. It's amazing. Last year we got picnic backpacks, and mine has gotten a lot of use. If you work for a company that is considering sponsorships, our sponsor prospectus is going out, I think, today. We've got a lot of different options, and if you haven't sponsored yet for a digital event, they are a lot less work than trying to sponsor and attend an in-person event, since you don't have to do anything in terms of travel or setup or anything like that. Sponsoring this year is a great way still to get eyes on your brand. We're expecting attendees, we're expecting registrations for sure to be somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 people, because last year we were at 2,800. And our sponsorship opportunities run between, well, they start at $3,000. So it's a relatively low monetary ask to get your eyes or your brand in front of a lot of eyes. If you have questions about that, email us at chefconf@chef.io, or you can find me on Slack and I can help you out. And that's all I've got to cover. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Spencer.
Awesome. Thanks, Penny. Let me share my screen here. All right, fantastic. So first of all, to all the partners that are on this webinar, thanks a ton for joining, right? We've got a renewed interest on our side. I run, so first of all, my name is Spencer Hopkins. I run North American sales for Chef/Progress. And we're really placing some big bets on partners this year, making sure that we have good territory coverage, good messaging that gets out there, that kind of thing. And so what I wanted to just spend a little bit of time here today is kind of walking through our latest sort of go-to-market offerings and our latest go-to-market messaging. And then, kind of coming out of this call, it would be great to work with partners on an individual level to craft that messaging in partnership with our partners to really understand how can we go to market together and how can we take the goodness of our two organizations to drive some really great outcomes for our customers. So first of all, as you are all probably well aware, Chef was acquired by Progress Software in October of last year. Happy to talk offline with respect to all the goodness that's come out of that. We've been presenting a lot of roadmap discussions to our current customers, and ultimately all the feedback kind of across the board has been, wow, the Progress sort of having a little bit bigger customer, a little bit deeper pockets, a little bit better sort of product management muscle is really great from a roadmap perspective in terms of how we're executing on what we promised to deliver, as well as sort of where the product is going to meet where the market is going. So a lot of goodness there. And then obviously, Chef, we're acquired to continue to build on Progress's momentum, still heavily focused on our community and applying the whole sort of change as code. So real quick, how do we go to market, right? If you've heard anything about Chef, we always talk about infrastructure as code, compliance as code, and app delivery as code. And so where we're seeing this really resonate with customers is this whole idea of single path to production, right? And inevitably, everybody's got a lot of goodness around how they build applications using pipelines, using CI/CD processes, et cetera. They're all applying that now to how do we think about building infrastructure, and how do we think about making that infrastructure compliant and secure with what our corporate goals are. And a lot of that is leveraging change as code, and therefore you use a lot of good processes to deliver a single path to production via code. And so where do we spend a lot of time? Like I always tell my team, it's not your traditional sales cycle. This is much more of an enablement and education around how do customers get really, really good at this human-free zone? How do they get really, really good at automation so they can fundamentally speed up the flywheel of how they innovate as a customer or as a company, sorry. And so we talk a lot about that marriage of, hey, we're going to build and develop something, but we're also going to make it secure, and we're going to operationalize those changes, that whole DevSecOps perspective. But again, where we spend a lot of time, because we go to 10 accounts a week who are trying to get really good at this, right? This is all about that customer journey in terms of how good are you around automation and DevSecOps today? And then inevitably that opens a conversation around where that customer is along that journey of getting really good at this automation aspect of DevSecOps. So how do we see this in our specific customers, right? Obviously, infrastructure automation, a big company out there like a Barclays, huge European bank who is not afraid to spend money on technology to make sure that they build a big moat so all of the smaller fintech companies can't slowly chip away at their sort of business portfolio. And so we have a lot of different references on our website, et cetera, around Barclays, a lot of great stuff there. From a security and compliance standpoint, I would recommend anybody do a Google search on SAP plus Chef plus Inspect. SAP, without any guidance from Chef, wrote a blog post around how they leverage Chef Inspect, which is our compliance and security sort of piece of the platform, to interrogate cloud resources to the tune of like 11 million resources in a week on a weekly ongoing sort of continuous compliance perspective. So SAP is delivering all their products via SaaS delivery, and that's where they're trying to go with all of their customer base. And they leverage Chef to make sure that that infrastructure, that cloud delivery model is very secure and compliant with what SAP needs. From an application delivery perspective, this is a great use case by Walmart. So if you think about Intelligent Retail Labs by Walmart, which is their incubation labs, they are starting to get really intelligent around at the per aisle level within their stores, so they can have dynamic product inventory, all of using artificial intelligence, machine learning to really understand which products are moving, which produce is getting stale, and all those kind of things, and all the bits and bytes to those sensors that are in their stores on an aisle by aisle basis is constantly refreshed using Chef to make sure that those bytes are kind of updated, as well as all those little pieces are not security holes within a store. And then another piece around how our platform works is this idea of desktop automation. right? It's very similar to a data center or a cloud compute environment like an AWS or Azure or GCP, where they're saying, hey, we're going to build a thing, and then we're going to continually make sure that that thing is in compliance and run security tests against that, et cetera. And that same concept can be applied to laptops or desktops to say, hey, every time that laptop is opened up, we want to make sure it's checking with the Chef server, it's up to date, it's compliant. So not only does the user have the right credentials to get onto that machine, but when was the last time that machine was updated to get onto our internal applications and servers, et cetera. And this falls into the line of where companies are going around that zero trust aspect of, hey, both servers as well as anything that has access to internal systems like laptops or desktops. So pretty wide array of use cases that we're going after. And this wide array in terms of security and compliance around configuration builds for infrastructure, for applications, or for desktops is something that's pretty differentiated around Chef. And obviously across a lot of different verticals, we've got a lot of different customers. So I wanted to touch on another aspect, which is how we go to market. So from a licensing standpoint, we have gone to market now given certain use cases, right? And so underneath the covers are the different products from Chef that make up those use cases and those go-to-market sort of bundles, if you will. So the first one is just Chef infrastructure management. Hey, we're going to build something, and then we're going to have continuous eyes, which is Chef Automate, that sort of repository that all those nodes check into. We're going to have continuous eyes on those things that we build. This is our sort of most basic offering, where we're going to build a thing and then constantly sort of monitor that thing. Now, Chef compliance is something where it's sort of the extension of that, saying, hey, we're going to not only build this thing, but we're going to constantly make sure that it is within compliance and secure with all of the compliance checks that we run as an organization. One of the things that you'll see here is Chef Premium Content. So yes, Chef Inspect and Chef Infra is going to build and then constantly test that thing. But a lot of great things that we have around Chef Premium Content is, if you're familiar with Center for Internet Security, CIS protocols, they're basically saying, hey, here's hardened images of RHEL, of Windows, et cetera. These are our CIS protocols. What Chef Inspect has done is taken those CIS protocols and built those into pre-built Chef Inspect content. And so then you can say, hey, this CIS profile is needed, for our company, but in the case of, say, Cerner, we take a CIS profile and we extend that out to add Cerner-specific security or compliance measures to that. And so that premium content is something that we're constantly updating. Plus, we can auto-magically remediate a server. So if we say, hey, that server is out of compliance with a CIS profile plus our extended security measures, but I want to auto-magically remediate that server to get back in compliance with our security sort of profiles, that is another aspect of the Chef premium content that a lot of customers are leveraging, so that it's almost sort of black box, lights out, hey, compliance and remediation are taken care of in an automated way. I'm going to skip that slide because it was a bad build. One of the things we talk about is, hey, everybody wants to get to DevSecOps, but we can't expect our security teams to get into code, right? They do a lot of things on their plate and within their portfolio of business, but we're not expecting them to code. But what we are saying is, why don't you give us the controls that you want us to implement in an automated way against our fleet? And the inspect language is very sort of, readable, human readable. It's not a true sort of coding language per se. And so you can basically say, hey, here's all our controls, and then automate the compliance and the remediation of these controls. So again, it's not asking your security guys to do any coding per se, but just give us those controls that you want us to automate compliance against, and we'll take care of that operationalizing of those controls. Chef Desktop, here's a great quote from Uber, who is a big Chef Desktop customers. And this is where a lot of companies are going for, if they have a hybrid desktop world. So if they've got a bunch of Windows machines, they've got a bunch of Mac machines, and then they've got a bunch of Linux type machines for their serious developers, et cetera. They want to be able to develop a way to build those machines, configure those machines, test and make sure those machines are compliant with just a single sort of process rather than an individual process for each different OS. And that's a big sort of aspect. And then we do a lot in Chef Desktop around mobile device management. How do we work with those types of vendors? And there's a lot of other sort of specific security or architectural things that we think about with respect to desktop as well. And this is where, just giving you a little bit of insights in terms of every time all of those desktops and laptops check in to Chef Automate, what are some of the things that we're seeing with respect to, insights into our desktop fleet? How can we drill down, see security aspects, check necessary configurations, check against drift, that kind of thing. And so again, taking the traditional sort of concept of what Chef delivers, but now orienting that towards desktops and laptops. And then finally, the other sort of use case that we go to market around is Chef application delivery. And this is a big component that is starting to get some real eyes on it from our current customer base as well as net new prospects, which is saying, hey, we can define, package, and deliver applications or changes to those applications in a consistent manner at any scale. And so a lot of our customers who are saying, hey, we're doing a move to the cloud, I want to be able to migrate those applications to the cloud in a seamless, easy manner. That's a great use case that we've seen a lot of customers do. And then, hey, we've got these applications that are out there that don't have the best connectivity to them. Walmart is a great example in terms of all of their devices within a store, not within a data center per se, but how do we package up changes to that application? And when those nodes or sensors or whatever come online, they can check saying, hey, what changes to our apps need to be downloaded, and kind of take that approach. This really simplifies the ability to deliver applications within a complex environment. And this is something that takes a little bit more education around for our customers, because it's a little bit different than, say, configuration and compliance or security. But that whole idea of sort of making changes or delivering app via an automated process makes a ton of sense for our current customers. And then how do we fit into sort of the DevOps toolchain? When I talked a lot about, hey, we spend time with our current customer base or prospects talking about how do you get really good at automation? How do you think about, taking a process of delivering change to infrastructure or delivering change to compliance or security or whatever? There's usually a whole technology stack around how do we think about that whole process. And so a lot of this is, hey, we fit right into those tool chain sets. And not only that, if you're really starting to think about, delivering change as code, yes, you're becoming experts on, some slice across this technology stack, but that idea of Chef sitting right on top of this becomes seamless once they get really good at sort of under the covers aspects of that. And so this is where we spend a lot of time talking about the different technologies and then the process for which a customer delivers change, and how can we sort of help implement, either make better, make slight changes to, or whatever, to improve how they deliver change in DevOps and automation. So that was relatively quick. And obviously you wouldn't go through it that quick with a customer, but this is kind of how we're going to market, where we're seeing a lot of companies pull us into conversations. I mean, the market is extremely ripe right now for trying to figure out how to get DevOps and security to work hand in hand so that they can kind of satisfy a lot of different use cases within the organization and make sure that we're satisfying all the security and compliance needs that are coming out of the CISO suite so that we're able to deliver change. If we can nail that conversation, then that opens a lot of doors for us within an organization. So I'll close there. I can open it up for any questions. I think a lot of people might be on mute, but it would be excellent to reach out via Denise Podnar, or feel free to reach out to myself directly to now take, hey, this is high level understanding of how we go to market. Now let's work with our specific partners and go after target accounts and really try to drive that business together. Any questions on that, or are people generally on mute? Okay, I think people might be on mute. Denise, should I pass this over to you?
Yes, Spencer, you can pass it over to me. And thank you so much. I think just giving that overview of, what you're seeing out there in the marketplace, how, the team is being successful with introducing Chef and, talking to customers about it is really, really useful to the partners. So again, as Spencer mentioned, please reach out to us if you have a customer in mind or something that you would like to bring us into to just help you go through this talk track. Because I think Spencer does a really good job of simplifying it with something that is not super simple and trying to identify where we can help out, because we can help out in a lot of different areas. So thank you, Spencer. That was great. So I am now going to share my screen and talk to you guys about our new partner portal. Let's see. Okay, I think everyone's probably seen that. So, we have had a partner portal up for a few years now, and we listened to some of the feedback that we got from our partners and, new ways that we can improve it and so forth. And so we implemented some of those ideas. And we really have two main goals with the partner portal. And one is that we want it to be the source of truth and we want it to be easy to use. So as far as with the source of truth, we want to make sure that you guys are getting the most current information that we have on products, the different resources, customer stories, etc. And then also make sure that we have specific partner information, and this is where we share that. So for instance, this presentation that Spencer did, that would be something that we would put into the partner portal that it'd say, if you want to share this with your the rest of the sales teams with since you guys saw this presentation, that's something that you could direct them here and they could also watch this presentation. Before I kind of start going through this, and I want to just talk a bit about, first you have to log into it. So you go to our website, and how you log in is you have to have a username and a password. And I'm just bringing this up because we've had some confusion with this in the past. And for all of our partners out there, there's one username and one password, and there's one owner to that, but everybody in your company uses that. So that's, I think, where some of the confusion is, because you may not know what the username is or what the password is. But you can reach out to us. We will know who is the owner of that username, and you can reach out to them, or maybe that person has left the company, so we need to reassign it. And we can do all that. So you can either email myself or anyone else on the team, or you could, at the where you do log in, it says reset password. And if you go through that process, then we will be notified, and then we'll reach out to you and be able to help you out there. So I just wanted to say that if you don't, you're going to need those two things. If you don't have it, let's figure that out now, so then you're able to access this and share it with others in your company. So, this is the main screen, the home screen. We talk a little bit about our mission there. And I just want to take a couple minutes just to kind of just talk about, where do partners, how do partners help us with that mission? And how do we, more importantly, help partners, um, uh, achieve, so we're all achieving those goals, as far as being able to help people be successful with DevOps solutions. And I'd say one, the journey is about just as important to us as that end result of a happy customer closing the deal. And that journey can be helping again with the sales process, getting you resources for that. It could be during more on the technical side where you may not have the pre-sales people. We can help with that, or we can help with the training of those people or getting the right resources, or again, that may be talking to someone or providing the documentation that you need to be able to be successful with that. So we really are here for the whole journey, and trying to help you guys with, identifying where you need more help, or as I always say, resources. The second thing is we have spent, I would say, there's been a focus over the last year or two of trying to simplify our solution and kind of more package it in a way that you can keep repeating that success. So it's been described, and I kind of like this as Legos. So if you can buy a Lego kit of a car or some Star Wars figure, and there's instructions, there's these pieces, and you go, this is how you do it. And so we've been trying to make that easier for our partners to be able to use our product that way. But then there's also people who like to take a big box of Legos and throw them all over the floor and figure out, a way to use our product, so to speak, in that fits for that particular customer. And that may be with integrations, or just finding different ways to use our product. And we love hearing about that and love helping with that also. So again, where you fit in that story is, we love working with both. And the third thing is the go to market, and how we do that together. And so we're always looking for new ways to do that. And if it's, again, doing webinars or doing events together, which hopefully will be in person, if not this year, next year. But just looking at different ways and putting more, we're investing more in different ways that we can go to market with our partners. So again, let's have those discussions and make some stuff happen. So anyway, I just wanted to take a moment to just kind of go through that one more time about that's what, the partner team is doing on a daily basis, is trying to help in all three of those categories. So, again, here's the homepage. It goes through. Over here, we will be talking, it will list our upcoming webinars and other announcements that we'll have. And then you can go here, because one of the other things that is very big in our partner portal is this is where you deal reg. So you would go to partner deals. And what you're going to see is this whole graph up here. This is new. So you can see this will list the opportunities that you have deal regged, and then, where they are, and, look at your dollar worth. So nothing has really changed here as far as how you deal reg. You would press on this button and go through the process. But we've just put more, nice graphics up there so you can see, the different opportunities that you have and where they are. I really encourage people to deal reg, because once you do deal reg, and if you haven't already started working with one of our field reps, our account managers, this pings myself to say, hey, I need to connect you with that regional there, and let's start talking about, how we can take this to the next step with the customer. You'll need to log in. And I know with some partners, there's certain people who only deal reg, or account reps do it on their own. But, again, I would encourage you to do this, because it does start the whole discussion if you're not already talking with one of our account managers about a particular deal. And then you'll just see up here, we have resources, products, solutions, and blogs. And I think that if, listening to Spencer's presentation, where it was talking about the product, and then sometimes he's talking about, the solution, that's really how we've kind of put this all together, because sometimes you want information on the product, and then other times you're looking for more resources on the total solution and how to present that to the customer. But on this resource page, if if you click here, this is download. So if you wanted to download one of the products to, run if we have demos, but to do, something the customer wants to say, hey, will this work a certain way? You can do this, and this is where you would download that. This is one of my favorites, the chef documentation, because it gets hidden in our website, but it has a lot of information on the different products and just, overviews again of what each of these, what each of our products do. You can get a little bit more technical, but also it's not so technical that salespeople don't understand it either. So I think that's a good page to use. Up here, we've broken it out where you have customer stories. Again, I think, Spencer went through a couple of those, and those are really good ways to engage customers, like, as you all know, just because they can identify with the problem that, one of these customers was already having and how that problem was solved. So as you can see, we have lots and lots of stories here to tell. And it really can be really helpful. Again, just data sheets, those are always great resources as far as, just basics on the what each product does. I think everyone's pretty familiar with this, so I'm not going to go through, but videos, these would be, customer videos that, again, really useful for, telling people, again, sharing those stories. So, and then here with this, we haven't put it in here, we haven't updated this, but this will be more specific partner resources. So like I mentioned, the video that Spencer did, the presentation that Spencer did today, we would probably, put that here. If it's trying to think of, with Chef Conf coming up, and if there was, we're getting some specific sessions for partners, we would put stuff like that here that you were not going to find anywhere else on the website because it is specific to partners. Again, just this is more resources laid out if you're saying, okay, I need to know more about the chef habitat, or if it is on Automate. So that is where you're going to be able to find that, but we'll also have in there customer stories and just, different ways to talk about the product or learn about it or gather the information. Versus when you go over here to solutions, we're talking more about, you're going to see security, compliance, application delivery, integrations. So you will see that a lot of this information may be on multiple screens, but we're trying to find it because you are looking for information in a lot of different ways. So we've tried to make this as easy as possible. And basically when you click on it, as you've seen, it just opens up a new tab, and then you can be right back into the partner portal. And this is just a list of our blogs. So pretty straightforward there. So hopefully this is something you guys will all be excited about, and I haven't confused it. And you're going to see that this is super easy and has a lot of information that you're able to gather and use for your customers. Is there any questions? Okay. That's it from my side. And let's just make sure. Okay, I don't see if there's any questions. Again, pretty basic information we shared today, but I think all really, really useful. So I look forward to, working with everyone. If you do have questions on this, or if it's helping you with your username and password, I'm here, and looking forward to talking with you all soon, and next month in our next partner webinar.